Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Wednesday. We're here for Self-Care Wednesday. Who needs a little bit of self-care there, kids? I got a great subject today. It's about undigested emotions. So if you're about to hit stop and move on to another video, I ask that you please keep an open mind and stay with me, okay? But first, I'm going to do some guidance from the Self-Care Rituals deck. It's been a while, I think, since I've used this deck. I honestly can't remember if I did Self-Care Wednesday. I think I did, but I think I don't know if I use a different, I don't know. My brain only goes about one day in either direction nowadays, so. So I'm going to pull 5 cards and then we'll get rolling into our subject today. It might be a little lengthy because there's a lot of information. I got information from a place called thechalkboard.com and tinybuddha.com. So I will break it down and I will put the Tiny Buddha in the comment section. I'll put the link in there so you can read the full article. I'm going to be giving you the abridged version of what it talked about. But you know, I have to tell you, it really kind of hit home for me. And it made a lot of sense. So I do hope that you can keep an open mind and that you do stay with me, because I think it, you know, sometimes we don't want to reach outside of what, you know, regular society believes, right? Because we think, oh no, it's fine. How can, oh, I pulled 6 cards. You know, we just kind of get into that mode like, oh yeah, whatever. But the body stores things. For instance, just as a quick flash to what we're going to be talking about today, have you ever noticed around certain times when dates start to come up, and you don't always realize what date it is, right? Sometimes you're sitting there and you're going, why am I feeling so blue? Why am I feeling so sad? And then you think about the date and you're like, oh my gosh, in 2 days is blah, blah, blah. It's maybe some big event, you know, that may have happened in your life, whether you feel happy or sad, but your body remembers. It's a body memory. Or, you know, for those that watch, you know, Disney and Pixar, it's a core memory. And core memories tend to bring up emotions and feelings. So, good morning, older sibling. So this kind of talks about it, but it's going to reach into the areas of things that we need to let go. Okay, so first, let's do our self-care ritual deck one more time. It's the Sacred Self-Care Rituals. So, connect with fire. If you're watching anywhere in California or the Pacific Northwest, I automatically apologize for this card. Connect with fire. But I think what they mean is, whether it's a candle, or maybe you have a fire pit at your home, or maybe you have, maybe you're grilling something, right? When they say connect with fire, there can be magic in it. Yeah, it's very destructive and very powerful. But when you really start to, I think what they're saying is it can be also very mesmerizing. So please, 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 if you do connect with fire, do it in a safe place. A safe, open space where it's not windy, but, you know, fireproof containers and everything. You can also use fire for rituals. You know, you can write a letter, send it off, burn it and send it off. You can bury the ashes if it's something bad in a dark place, you know, somewhere. Or you can spread them to the wind if it's something good. But I'm struggling a little with the connection to fire, and I think my mental block is just because where I live, we tend we used to have a fire season, which was in early fall, and now it just seems to be year round, so it's a little touchy on that one. But fires are also, you know, bonfire pits, right? People gather around them. It's a gathering place. You know, whether it's a bonfire pit, a fire pit at your home, barbecue, people gather around the grills. I inherit at our family tailgates we used to have. I inherited the job and responsibility of grill master. So I wouldn't call myself a master, but in the family, yes. But people gather around there. It's just like a meeting, like a camaraderie type of thing, you know. So number 2, make a vision board. Make a vision board. I have one on my door, which I admit I forget to look at basically every day. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. But make a vision board. Make a vision board of things that you want, maybe things you want to feel, how you want to feel. Vision boards have no rules, except that you're pretty much supposed to give it the time of day at least once, twice, or every time you pass it. So, but you know, I was watching a show, and this one guy had a vision board of a house he absolutely loved, this and that, and you know, his kid comes wandering in, and the dad didn't want to unpack or anything, but the kid's all, "What's in here, Dad?" And it was like vision. He's all, "What's a vision board?" And the dad was explaining the vision boards, and they pull it out, and he's all, "Look, it's the house we live in." So, you know, I mean, that's the big part of it, right? You do a vision board, you pay it some mind, you pay attention to it, you give it the feeling that it deserves so that it can manifest into your life. And it can be anything. See, like on here, her vision board are very different things, like travel and exercise, and I'm not really sure what this is. Oh, readings, listen to your heart. I am healthy, I believe in me, be an inspiration, exercise, so all these to friendship, all these different things. So it can be, it doesn't just have to be about material things that you want. And remember, even with the vision board, I'm going to say it again, with prayers, intentions, and manifestations, well, prayers, intentions, manifestations, this or something better, create art. I admit I do not, I've found a creative gene in me that I believe was dormant. Because, I think it would peak every so often when I actually caved and would go to my mom to some of her crafting classes, and she would look at my stuff and go, "Wow, you know what? How come you always tell me you can't do this, but you can?" And, but I found a creative outlet with making jewelry, which is kind of helps me get out of my head. But I admit painting is not one of my strong suits. However, I love to throw colors together. I am not a visual artist when it comes to putting things on paper or on canvas, but I do love doodling, and I do love throwing colors, like I said, onto something. It's just, there's a certain freedom in it, and I'm never sure what it means. Most of them are just squiggles and lines, and very childlike drawings, but there is a freedom in creating art, you don't have to be a professional artist to make things. I mean, have you ever saw someone and they're painting and you're like, I could totally have done that? Well, it's, so you think it's simple, you think it's dumb, but here's the thing, someone believed in it. And to someone, those lines and those squiggles, it meant something to them. It could be the way their brain feels at the time. It could be, the way they feel like their life might have been going at the time. It can mean a lot of different things, but it's all personal to the artists themselves. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, portraits or things like that. If you feel creative, don't let your lack of belief in yourself hold you back. Just do it. Put whatever you need to put on paper. The other day I was on Twitter, and wow, there's this one lady on there. She is a fabulous artist. I mean, I always wanted to be an artist. I mean, not like one of my dream things, but just a talent I wish I kind of had, just to doodle more than just squiggly lines. And this person was creating like pictures and portraits of people, and they're so lifelike. It's amazing. It's just beautiful to see this talent that people have. And they lean into it. It's beautiful to see people leaning into their talents. So, even if it is not your strong suit, but it's something you love to do, just throwing paint onto a canvas, do it. I mean, come on, look at some of Jackson Pollock's stuff. I mean, right? It's just splashes of paint, but it means something to somebody. And, art is very subjective. What one person sees in it, another person may not. Someone may just see like a beautiful chaos, right? While someone else may say that's just splashes of paint on a canvas. And I don't know a lot about Jackson Pollock, but for the very few things that I have seen, I can say that that's confidence. You know, I'm looking up some stuff while we talk. So the next card, meditate. What more can I say about meditation? I mean, we talked about it a few times this week, I think, but meditation can help us kind of get back into who we are. It can help us center. It can help us vibe. It can help us just kind of take in the moment. Okay, yeah, see, I'm looking at the Jackson Pollock stuff. Now, see, this is stuff that I could do, but I don't have the confidence. He did. And there's beautiful things inside of these things. I mean, they're almost like a Rorschach test, right? You just kind of look at it and everybody sees something different. But anyways, with meditation, it can help bring you back to center. You know, a lot of times our minds get so filled with so much crap, and then we get overwhelmed. And meditation and breath work is how we can move through that. Okay. So the next one is create an altar. Now, I know this isn't for everybody. Some people are going to be like, I'm not into that. You don't have to be into that. That's your choice. But creating an altar means it's just creating a space where, you know, even if you're meditating, you can sit in front of and just kind of, you put your favorite things on there. If you're religious, you can put religious things there. If you're metaphysical or, you know, other things, you know, pagans, whatever your belief system falls into, it's a safe space for you to just find your focus so that you can meditate. All right. And watch a movie. Watch a movie. I was just telling older sibling this morning that sometimes when I don't know what else to watch, but my brain is so filled with chaos, I literally will sit and watch like 3 or 4 endings of some of my favorite movies. And yeah, I know it sounds a little weird, but I love it. I love it. You know, it's just, you don't go through the whole thing, but if you've seen it a million times, you're just like, yep, I know how we got here. Let's just do this, right? Sometimes when I was feeling really, really upset and sad, I would literally watch the last 45 minutes to an hour of Avengers Endgame. And so, because who doesn't like to see the good guys win? Right. So let's get to Self-Care Wednesday. Processing undigested emotions. This was inspired by articles I saw from Tiny Buddha and the Chalkboard. So I'm just going to start reading because there's a lot here. There is a lot, and then we'll discuss it, okay? So from the chalkboard.com, Ayurvedic master Deepak Chopra explains, and this is very good, so listen. When your emotional agni, which is your digestive fire within the body or your digestive system, it's a yoga term, I believe. When your emotional agni is strong, you're able to extract whatever is nourishing and eliminate the rest. The inability to metabolize emotions, however, produces just as much toxic residue as undigested food. In fact, pent-up anger, long-held sadness, and lingering guilt are more debilitating for most people than problems with physical digestion. Now, the reason I say to keep an open mind on this before we move forward is because this is going to reach into your spiritual side. It's going to reach into the parts of your soul that hangs on to things. Now, we sometimes have physical manifestations of these pains, of these, icky things that we've gone through in our life. But I will admit, there was a time when I thought that's just the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. But then as I started to read and I started to pull up charts, like one day I just had it in my head. I don't know if spirit said something to me, if God was guiding it to me, or one of my higher powers or source was telling me, look here. But I looked up, I know, it's because I was in my Reiki class. And something outside of that class just told me, look up the spiritual meaning of, and it was either back pain or knee pain or whatever pain I was feeling at the time, because it was just so random. Like sometimes we're just walking and all of a sudden something hurts, but what are you thinking about? What is heavy on your mind? And I looked it up and I was floored. I was floored. It didn't take me long to be sold on the idea that mental anguish, pain, anger, sadness, the overwhelming feelings, anxiety, depression can manifest into something physical. And so that's what Deepak Chopra is talking about here. When your emotional agni is strong, you are able to extract whatever is nourishing and eliminate the rest. So when you have a strong sense of self, this is my interpretation, okay? This is my perspective. I'm not sure if this is what he means, but to me, this is what it means to me. When you have a strong emotional, or just a strong resolve, really, you are able to extract what is nourishing for your soul and remove the rest, which is toxic, which is going to build and build and build and build. Think about it, right? A lot of people who are heavy in their midsection, such as myself, it's caused from stress, right? It's caused by those hormones that, the stress thing, and for some reason it just holds on to everything in the middle, right? And it does make it unhealthy. It does make it, and I'm not judging, okay? I mean, hello. But it's not a judgment, but it's true. A lot of times it is stress, and people will find that the happier they get, or the more in tune they get with themselves, or the more stable they become in their emotions, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm finally losing weight. Hey, how does this happen? And we don't put two and two together oftentimes, but it's because you're not stressing as much and you're not releasing those hormones that just hang on to everything, right? Clinging to life. You have to give your self permission to let go. Now, not everybody needs that. I need that. I personally have to give myself permission to be happy, to let go, because some of the traumas I've suffered in my life have taught me and ingrained in me since before I could really formulate my own thoughts that it's not for me to be happy. I'm not worth it. I'm not deserving. And so, retraining my brain to believe that I am has been hard. That's how I found this article. Somehow I was just online and I was looking for, all I did was type in types of self-care because I wanted to do, this has been 2 weeks coming now, this article. And I wasn't ready yet. And now I know why, because as you all know from what I've talked about the last 2 days during the gratitude, I had big epiphanies this weekend. And so this information that I did the homework on last night, that I read through, that I looked at, it's hitting me at the right time, because now I know that I have to digest these emotions. I have to digest these feelings that have been hidden for so long. Now, before I continue on, I do want to talk about something yesterday. So I was talking about Nick Vujicic, I believe that's how you say his name, and that was the gratitude, how he was born with no limbs, so no arms, no legs, and how he chose to be, I read a great article on him. I posted it in yesterday's perspective, how he went from being bitter to just accepting his fate and saying, you know what, let's do this. The man has a wife and 4 children. I mean, not that he wouldn't, I'm just pointing it out. He surfs, he skydives, he writes, he taught himself, he has toes. So he taught himself how to type with his toes. He runs his own wheelchair, which a lot of people were asking how that's possible. If you've ever watched a movie, hello, you can do it either, well, my friend who's seen him in person said he guides it with his mouth, but a lot of times they can use their face or their head. Okay. So, I mean, that's common sense. I mean, to me anyways, but I just wanted to point out that I was completely wrong. I thought this man had to depend on people. He is very, very self-aware. I'm sure there are things that people do need to help him with. However, he really is an inspiration on what we can do. The man has no arms and no legs, and yet he is a world famous motivational speaker. Right? I mean, I believe he's from Australia, and my friend saw him at her church, being, in the form of a motivational speaker. So I think his story is very, very important. And I think it's actually good that I'm sharing it here, because he probably had a point in his life where he was frustrated. I mean, he tried to drown himself. Okay. And that didn't work. And then I think that's when he finally decided, you know what? I can either fight this or I can embrace it and see what I can do with it. And so he digested those emotions. He took those undigested emotions and he digested them and let them go. He spiritually pooped them out. Okay, I know I'm not trying to be irreverent here, but it's some people just need that visual. He let it go. He let it go. And so, let's go through this one more time. When your emotional agony is strong, you are able to extract whatever is nourishing and eliminate the rest. The inability to metabolize emotions, however, produces just as much toxic residue as undigested food. In fact, pent-up anger, long-held sadness, and lingering guilt are more debilitating for most people than problems with physical digestion. There are going to be times when you are going to sit there and go, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Why can't I figure out what's wrong with me? And it could be because there's so much pain inside of you that you're just holding it in, that it's becoming toxic in your body. This all right here, these are all emotions. Well, that's because I gained weight, but that's all emotions. That's pain. Yesterday I fell off of the emotional eating bandwagon, and just as a reminder for those that think emotional eating, that you're like, oh, people won't believe me if I have it. I have it on good authority from my own therapist at the time, my former therapist. One day, well, I guess I don't call her former, because one day I'll be able to see her again, I'm sure, even just to say hi. But she told me emotional eating is a form of an eating disorder. It's just not as commonly known because most times it does come with depression, which the other two really kind of do as well, but they entail so much more. But because people don't really see it as being dire to your health, it can be in the long run, but it's not as prominent as bulimia or anorexia, right? I mean, those are pretty awful. But it is a form of an eating disorder. So I want you to know that, because I want your feelings to be validated. And I always thought it was something I was making up in my head until I talked to her, and she's like, oh no, that's a real thing. And it's like, oh. But I try to treat it like, as terrible as it's going to sound, and I promise I'm not trying to compare myself to people in AA, but I try to treat my recovery like those in AA. I mean, there is Overeaters Anonymous, and that's kind of what they deal with, right? Overeating, emotional eating, binging, all these things. And I fell off the wagon yesterday. I fell hard. And I wanted to be disappointed in myself. But instead I held myself accountable and said, okay, so we start with day one, and we'll keep starting with day one until I start piling days on. And it was the first time that I realized I was doing it, and I didn't feel shame. I didn't melt into the problem. I perked up and I started heading towards the solution. And I realized this could be a lifelong struggle for me, just like dealing with my dinged up mental health is always going to be something I have to deal with. But I don't need to let it run my life, and I don't need to let it ruin my life. Isn't it funny how one letter can turn run into ruin? I know, it just kind of hit my brain there. But I don't have to let it ruin my life, because it's something I have to deal with. It's something I have to handle. And I can run from it, or I can face it straight on. And I faced it straight on. And I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't know if today is going to be better than yesterday. I don't know if I'll be back at square one by the end of the day, or if I'll just be piling a bunch of day ones on top of each other. But what I do know is that I'm very cognizant of this problem. And that's why I am doing Undigested Emotions for Self-Care Wednesday. Because I think it's very important that we learn that it's not just about what we eat, but it's also what we feed our mind and our soul and our heart. So, after that quote, it says, to experience optimal health, it's essential to eliminate toxins from the body so our inner fire has room to strengthen and grow. Deepak Chopra recommends daily balance to help digest emotions. Creating, journaling, meditation, breathwork, yoga, or whatever personal ritual makes you feel grounded, calm, and connected. I love that. And I think it's funny that some of the cards that came up in the self-care ritual, cards were creating, meditation, but also journaling. Journaling helps me. I mean, I was so tired last night, but I literally wrote all of this, and there are pages in my journal where I literally have pages and pages and pages just for one day. And I just for this one, I didn't use a regular journal. I just used a notebook because, it just, something about it felt right? Almost like learning, like we use these notebooks in school. And maybe that's what it is. It just felt like, the school of life. But I do like this. You can strengthen these by, your daily balance. Take the time to write in a journal. I know people don't like to look at it and will say, God, this is like homework. But literally this right there, that was one post, okay? All I said was not much to say, but I do need to stop worrying. We had, blah, 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 all the things. But that was one journal post, literally one journal post. And it doesn't have to be wordy. It doesn't have to be long. A lot of times I think when we think of journaling that it has to be like you're writing a book. Journaling means so many different things. You can write not doing well today, emotionally ate, fuck it, whatever your emotion is at the time, or feeling great today, went 2 days without emotionally eating, feeling fabulous. It doesn't have to be a story. I'm a writer, so a lot just comes out of me. But a journal is personal. You can doodle in there. I have so many doodles in my journals, even the regular actual journals. This one started out as a journal. Baby sibling bought me this. Look at this. How cool is that? Right? It's so sparkly. She got this from me from a Walgreens in Tucson, Arizona when I was out there visiting. And she says, I just saw it and it made me think of you. And she's on, I know you would love this because you like to play with things. I know I do. Like I can't stop. But she bought it for me to journal in, and that's where I started. And then one day it turned into the Aloha Perspective guidebook. So anyways, these are little things that we can do, but find a ritual. If you like to run, go run when you're feeling horrible, or meditate and breath work. Breathe into the count of 4, exhale to the count of 8. And if you struggle with that at first, just keep going because you will figure out how to do it without, making yourself pass out. Don't pass out. But, breathe in the positive, breathe out the negative. And do it until you feel calm. And do it slowly because you also don't want to hyperventilate. So, from the Tiny Buddha, I found both of these articles. Both of these articles came up. 2 separate entities, 2 separate sites. But they really go together with this whole undigested emotions thing. So from the Tiny Buddha, 3 steps to processing emotional energy stuck in your body. So again, 3 steps to processing emotional energy stuck in your body. Now, this is the abridged version, okay? I will post the link in the comments on the Facebook Live, and I'll do my best to remember to post the article in the YouTube comments as well, okay? So I really suggest that if you're watching this on any platform, to please read these articles fully, because they really go into depth. She shares personal experiences, and I think sometimes, we just need something to relate to. But like I said, I pulled out what I thought was important, and there may be things in there that I didn't think was important to share in here, but may be important to your particular journey. All right, so step 1, recognize self-awareness. Okay, so it says recognize, and in parentheses, self-awareness. The challenge is to recognize the emotion and feel it in your body. This is where mindfulness comes in. The goal is to notice what is happening within our body, accept it, and feel it fully without judgment. She references a teaching from Tara Brach on radical acceptance called RAIN, RAIN, or RAIN means recognize, allow, investigate, and nourish with self-compassion. It helps to directly decondition the habitual ways in which you resist your moment-to-moment experience. Acceptance is liberating. We have to feel it to heal it. We have to fully experience the emotion in order to process and integrate it into our experience. Without this, the true essence of healing will be incomplete. This is true. I mean, how many times have we talked about it? I mean, I did not make up, you got to feel it to heal it, or you got to go through it to grow through it. They literally did just hit my mind, but then I started seeing it everywhere, and I realized, ooh, I'm tapping in, and someone's trying to help me through this. So if you have a higher power, you have a source, you have a guardian angel, whatever you want to call them, when they are putting healthy thoughts into your mind, that's because they want you to follow it. But, I had someone write to me this morning and leave me the most beautiful message that I could have woken up to. This has been a very, very interesting and good morning. Lots of unexpected surprises and things were just coming my way. And she just wrote, she just told me I do make a difference. And I didn't want to share that because I don't want to toot my own horn. This is not what I do this for. But I was feeling like I didn't. There are times when I think, why do I do this perspective? And then I get messages from people that don't come on the live, but see the videos later. And they thank me. And it's just kind of like, oh, that one person. Remember, it's always about that one person. You may touch more. You may touch a lot more, many more people. But it's always about that one person that needs to hear that message. And that's where the true essence of healing, will be incomplete if we don't learn to feel it to heal it. Grief is terrible. Grief isn't just about death. Grief is about losing partnerships. Grief is about losing relationships. It's about losing jobs. It's about losing something that was so important to you that it just feels like it's ripped your heart out. And the other night I was talking to a friend online, and they're like, my coworker and I, as we have all these interns coming in now, we were talking about these emotional scars that our previous jobs left us with. And they recognize it because, it hurt, but they're in such a good place now. And they're all like, and I'm elated that some of these interns will never have to feel the things that we did, but I'm also jealous that they won't. And I told them, I said, this is why you were in this situation. Because you were here to show them how to be a good mentor, how to be a good boss. And he said it himself. We learn from our experiences. Without these emotional scars, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And, he took this job because he wanted to show his daughter that anything is possible, right? And, his wife is very supportive of it. I don't want to say was, she is very supportive of the move that he made. But mostly he did it for his daughter. And he landed in a very good place, a very good company. Some people will always complain about it, but the majority of the people love it. And he even said it himself. This is a place where this may be their first and their last job. Because this place takes care of its people and they have longevity. They have longevity. And I told him that's why you're there. You're there to do a great job. You're there to show yourself what you are made of. But you're also there to mentor people so they know how to move forward and be a good person to other people who may end up working under them one day. Who may have to take people under their wings that are emotionally scarred from another place that they've been at, another workplace they've been at. I was emotionally scarred when I lost my job. I was hurt. I mean, it was true grief. I felt like I was gut punched. And I honestly saw it coming because I have that sixth sense. But I had hoped I was wrong. So this is what they talk about, recognizing those undigested emotions. If you're not going to feel it, you are not going to heal it. Okay, so is healing scary? Fuck yeah, it's super scary. It hurts, it's painful. It's the worst shit you will probably ever go through in your life. Excuse my language, but it's the truth. That's about the only way to really explain it. But it is going to be the best thing you ever done in your life. Simply put. You have to go through the pain so that you can remind yourself what you have overcome and push yourself moving forward. Good morning, baby sibling. Happy hump day. Hump day, hump day, hump day. So anybody watching, I'm going to ask a personal request to really kind of just good vibe baby sibling. So, just to catch people up that might be coming in now, we are working through undigested emotions. I just went through the chalkboard comments from Deepak Chopra, and we just finished step 1, which is recognize and self-awareness. And the recognize and self-awareness is about feeling it to heal it, right? You got to feel it to heal it. So step number 2, self-expression. Emotions need to be expressed to be processed. The goal is to move the energy of emotion through the body so we can let it go. What does this emotion you're connected with need from you? To cry, scream into a pillow, swim, walk, run, dance, hit a punching bag, be creative? When you find what works for you, you will find that you will free the poisonous emotion that you carried within yourself and free yourself from its shackles. Oh, thank you, baby sibling, or older sibling. Thank you, older sibling. She just said, you tell him, girl, but I'm not sure what she's talking about. So, I know. So anyways, I like this last part. You will free the poisonous emotion that you carried within yourself and free yourself from its shackles. But again, you have to respond to it. And in parentheses, again, this is self-expression. Again, this is about you have to go through it to grow through it. You have to feel it to heal it. All of these 3 steps are going to tie into one another. And once more, I'm going to keep reiterating this through this perspective. I'm going to put this full article, okay? This is just little highlights of this article that I'm reading to you. I'm going to put the full article in the comments on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, please feel free to click and subscribe, okay? Seriously, I could use the followers. But to be honest, it's not about the followers, it's about the message. But if you want to. But it is really kind of reaching in. Emotions need to be expressed to be processed. Oh, okay, she said a little bit earlier when I was clapping my hands. But truly, if you are not going to process these emotions, what's the point? What's the point? It's like I said, healing is going to be the hardest thing you are going to do. Facing it, taking that first step towards realizing you need to heal is going to be the hardest thing you were ever going to do. It's going to be the biggest step in your entire life if you were on a path of healing, because you are going to be faced with mountains of emotions that you may not realize you have, that you may have buried, that you may have pushed down so far and are now coming up like Mount Vesuvius and its volcano and lava and ash and all that crap. But when you survive it, you're going to look back and you're going to go, wow, I did that. There's a great quote from a show I watch, and this one girl's panicking and saying, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I can't do this. Everybody's waiting for me to fail. And she says, you're always looking at the mountain ahead of you, but you forget to look at the mountains behind you. And what she meant was, look at all of these obstacles that you've scaled. Look at all these mountains that you've scaled. And if you've done it then, you can do it now. You just have to take it one step at a time. I mean, people don't just throw, a pick up to the top of the mountain and just climb up. No, you got to take it, one movement at a time, one step at a time. I mean, you don't just blink and you're there, right? No, one step at a time. So again, emotions need to be expressed to be processed. The goal is to move the energy of emotion through the body so we can let it go. What does this emotion you're connected with need from you? To cry, scream into a pillow, swim, walk, run, dance, hit a punching bag, be creative. When you find what works for you, you will find that you will free the poisonous emotion that you carried within you. Sorry, my writing is terrible. You will free, okay, let me try this again. You will free the poisonous emotion that you carried within yourself and free yourself from its shackles. You will free yourself from its shackles. I had a friend this morning who's going through a pretty hard time, and she's all, How do I even begin to move past this? Is it even possible? It is possible. I am telling you, for everybody who knows my story, if I can get through this healing process, you can get through this healing process. You know, what causes our trauma may not be the same, but where we all start on the healing path, that's the same. We're all there at the starting line together. Whatever trauma put us in this little corral to start this walk, run, marathon, whatever you want to call it, of healing, whatever caused that trauma, whether it's, some people may say super big or super small, if you're feeling like you're carrying that trauma, that finish line where you're standing with other people who may have gone through other things, that is how we all get through it together. Our traumas may not be the same, but the healing journey is going to be very similar. It's going to, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. It will be painful. And the reason I'm not sugarcoating it is because I have to tell you, every time I thought I'd healed something new seemed to pop up. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to be everybody's journey, but that was my journey because I resist. Class A resistor. Class A resistor. Instead of just going with the flow, I tend to resist things. And I realize that I do it out of fear. And the biggest thing I learned about not trusting myself and needing to learn how to trust myself so that I can trust other people is because I didn't believe, I'm going to say this, and I'm not sure if I said it yesterday, I may have. I didn't believe I was worthy or deserving to be happy because of all the bad things that happened. And it got confusing. My parents gave me this wonderful life, but they had no idea what was happening to me over here. No idea. And so it got confusing. There was like an identity crisis of sorts, and sometimes it's easier to lean into being sad because so many things are sad in this world, right? I'm just going to lean into that and just go, but why not be magical? Why not be freaking amazing and just move out of it? It doesn't mean you forget. If it's grief. I have another friend who said that she started, she felt guilty about being happy because her mother had passed away. And it hurt her. And she says, I know this is what my mom would want, but I just can't do it. And so I finally shared. I had kept my mouth closed for a couple of weeks, but I finally shared. And I said, I remember that emotion when my mom died. The first time I laughed, like really heartily laughed, I stopped myself halfway through and thought, oh my God, why am I laughing? I'm not allowed to be happy. And we can sit there all day and say, but that's not what your family would want. They'd want you to be happy. Yes, they do. But you have to process that yourself. You have to decide when you're going to be happy, when you're going to stop, living in a place of so much pain. The pain's always going to be there, but you will learn how to live with it. Whatever it is, the trauma, the grief, whatever the pain is, whatever the trauma is, it's always going to be sitting in the back of your head somewhere. But you decide how much power you give it, and you decide how much you're going to heal from it. And yes, it is okay to heal completely from it. Because yes, that is what they would want for you. But what they want for you and what you want for you are two different things. You have to give yourself permission to feel this joy. And then there was another time where I started laughing again, and I didn't catch myself. And then all of a sudden I stopped, and older sibling was like, are you okay? It's like you were literally laughing so hard and they just stopped cold. And I told her, I said, I feel kind of guilty for being happy. And this is years after my mom passed. And, but it was just one of those moments that really kind of just sat in my head. And I realized what my body was telling me is that we've had a lot of good moments. We've had a lot of funny moments. And it's okay. It's okay to move forward. It's okay to keep persevering and moving forward. Regardless of what happens in our past. And these are hard lessons I had to learn for myself. And I chose not to resist anymore. I'm always going to miss my mom. I'm always going to miss Sissy. I'm always going to miss the people that I cared so much about in my life that are no longer with us. And I can hold myself back, or I can move myself forward. And like I said, it's just one of those things that you learn to live with. You learn to live with the pain and the trauma. And you learn to say, you know what? Not today. Not today, trauma. Not today. Not today, sadness. Not today. Or as the regular saying goes, not today, Satan. Not today. I'm taking my fucking power back, and I'm gonna rock this life. Because that is what they would want. But like I said, you have to want it too. What somebody else wants for you may not necessarily be what you're ready for. You have to make that conscious choice. So, number 3, the last step, reset, and in parentheses, self-care. That's right, Self-Care Wednesday. Woohoo! So, reset. If we've habitually neglected our bodies and ignored our emotions, we have to rededicate ourselves to body-mind self-care and indulge in healing habits that will bring in the feeling of well-being. The goal is to realign back with your authentic self, reset back to a relaxed and open state, and come back into wellness and balance. Now, I just want to point out that everything that I just talked about, that's my perspective. Those were my feelings. That's how I had to work through my own pain. Okay, so it's not directed anywhere. It's just me sharing my story to hopefully help someone, heal theirs, to move forward in theirs. But again, step number 3, reset and self-care. If we've habitually neglected our bodies and ignored our emotions, we have to rededicate ourselves to body-mind self-care and indulge in healing habits that will bring in the feeling of well-being. The goal is to realign back with your authentic self, reset back to a relaxed and open state, and come back into wellness and balance. I'm going to go out on the limb here. And I'm going to talk about people who are on diets for a second. It is very possible that the reason some people don't have successful diets are because they're not working through their emotions. Actually, it's not really going out on a limb, because now that I think about it, it's what we talked in my therapy session. My therapist, a lot of people actually took this the wrong way and got upset with my therapist. But my therapist forbade me from doing fad diets. That's right. And a lot of people are like, well, she can't do that. You're trying to get healthy. It's like, no. It starts in here. That's why, there's a company out there that focuses on the psychology and the weight loss. And that's what it's all about. If you're an emotional eater and you do not realize you're an emotional eater, you may have the discipline to lose this weight. But when something goes sideways, what's going to happen? Are you going to put it back on? And then when you start putting it back on, my personal opinion and perspective is that you put on more weight after, because then you start feeling guilty that you lost all this weight and now you're getting it back. So, I'm not going to judge anyone who does fad diets. That's their thing. Some people can handle it emotionally and mentally. But if you suffer from a dinged up mental health and you are a consistent dieter, think about this perspective today. Okay? Think about the undigested emotions. What are you holding in that has hurt you so much? What is it that you hear in movies? Who hurt you so bad? It sounds silly coming out of my mouth, but it's true. Who hurt you? Who hurt you? What hurt you? Were you bullied as a kid? I was bullied as a kid. Boy, I did not like that. No. And, sometimes it still happens. I mean, you got trolls on social media. You got trolls in real life. I have another friend who found this entire community, and it turns out that 2 people were just bad-mouthing them behind their back because their spiritual beliefs vary significantly. But why do we judge people? What someone believes doesn't make them any different than the beautiful soul you got to know. But these are undigested emotions, or judgment. Sometimes judgment comes from a place because we're taught to fear things. I have a thing that I read, and I've shared this before, but I read it every morning. And it's one of my favorite things to read. At the very top, right here, at the very top. I now go beyond other people's fears and limitations. Do not let the fears and limitations that you grew up with hold you back any longer. You are worthy of healing. You are worthy of living the best life that you can possibly live. Sure, it might feel like some people have a better leg up than you do, but don't focus on what somebody else has. Focus on what you have. Focus on what you want. Believe you're worthy of it. Trust that you are worthy of it. My big epiphanies that have been so emotionally draining this week have been that I did not trust other people because I did not trust myself. And the bigger picture that I realized that the next day, see, it comes in waves, and I think it comes in waves in order of what we can handle each day, so that we do get the most out of it. See, if all this information would have hit me all on Monday, I would have been like, well, okay, and then been done with it. I emotionally ate yesterday because I realized I didn't think I deserved to be happy. That's why I don't trust people. Because if I trust people, that's giving into the idea that I do deserve to be happy. That there are people out there who have my best interest in mind, like I have their best interest in mind, or in my heart. I talked about 2 people that I absolutely adore and trust with my life. And my dad. I do too with him. But I'm sorry. It's not that... Okay, so I do trust my dad, and he is... I've always told baby sibling there are 3 people I trust with my life completely. But I talk to my siblings more. And so they're the first ones I reference because they were really the ones who helped me through this journey. You know, they helped me through losing my mom. They helped me through losing Sissy. They helped me, you know, through the other people I've lost in my life. I've had to help, you know, I've probably not done the best job of helping. Sometimes I overstep. But I've done my best to be there for, you know, these same people in whatever capacity they need me in. And I've learned and grown along the way. I've learned how to be a better listener and not just try to fix things. And a lot of times we try to fix things because we don't know how to fix our own lives. We don't know how to lean into the healing in our own lives. So we try to fix it everywhere else. And we can't do that. And I had to learn that the hard way. And it was a very hard lesson to learn. It was a very painful lesson to learn. But I learned it. I learned that sometimes we just need to lend our ear. Because people have their own journeys. And no 2 journeys are the same. They may be similar, but they're not the same. And so that's why we need to find a way to release these undigested emotions. We need to find a way to embrace the beauty of this life that we have. We can't take away someone else's pain, but we can be there for them. You know, that's why I asked everyone to send out the good juju to, you know, and the green light to baby sibling, because their family is in a bit of an emotional struggle right now. August is a very hard month for them. There's a lot of grieving that happens, but there's also this mixed bag of celebration because there's a birthday during this month, and they literally are one after the other. My nephew's birthday is the day before his father passed away. And that weighs on all of them. The youngest one is having emotions because he misses his father. He didn't get to know him like his older brother did. He was so young when his father passed away. But their mother is doing a fabulous job. Even in those moments when she feels like she's not. She has to hold her shit together to hold these kids together. So that's why I asked for the good vibes, because she could use them. Because, you know, she needs something to lean into for her own healing, for her own processing of grief. So, let's sum this up one more time. I'm going to read everything back through really quick. First from the chalkboard, thechalkboard.com. From Ayurvedic master Deepak Chopra, when your emotional agni, again, your digestive fire within, is strong, you are able to extract whatever is nourishing and eliminate the rest. The inability to metabolize emotions, however, produces just as much toxic residue as undigested food. In fact, pent-up anger, long-held sadness, and lingering guilt are more debilitating for most people than problems with physical digestion. To experience optimal health, it's essential to eliminate toxins from the body so our inner fire has room to strengthen and grow. Deepak Chopra recommends daily balance to help digest emotions. Creating, journaling, meditation, breathwork, yoga, or whatever personal ritual makes you feel grounded, calm, and connected. Now, from the Tiny Buddha, the 3 steps for processing emotional energy stuck in your body. Now, remember, this is the abridged version. I will be posting the link to this article in the comments on Facebook Live and on YouTube so that you can read them. And I do implore you to please read it all the way through. My highlights may not be what you need to hear. What you may need to hear may actually still be in that article. So, step 1, recognizing self-awareness. The challenge is to recognize the emotion and feel it in your body. This is where mindfulness comes in. The goal is to notice what is happening within our body, accept it, and feel it fully without judgment. Do not judge your feelings, okay? Show it compassion. So, the Tiny Buddha references a teaching from Tara Brach on radical acceptance. And it's called RAIN, R-A-I-N, or recognize, allow, investigate, and nourish with self-compassion. It helps to directly decondition the habitual ways in which you resist your moment-to-moment experience. Acceptance is liberating. Acceptance is liberating. We have to feel it to heal it. We have to fully experience the emotion in order to process and integrate it into our experience. Without this, the true essence of healing will be incomplete. Step number 2, respond, self-expression. Emotions need to be expressed to be processed. The goal is to move the energy of emotion through the body so we can let it go. What does this emotion you're connected with need from you? To cry, scream into a pillow, swim, walk, run, dance, hit a punching bag, be creative. When you find what works for you, you will find that you will free the poisonous emotion that you carried within yourself and free yourself from its shackles. You deserve to be free from those shackles. Step number 3, reset or self-care. If we've habitually neglected our bodies and ignored our emotions, we have to rededicate ourselves to body-mind self-care and indulge in healing habits that will bring in the feeling of well-being. The goal is to realign back with your authentic self, reset back to a relaxed and open state, and come back into wellness and balance. Now, a lot of people may sit there and go, oh, I never really felt wellness and balance in my life. I was in that place. A lot of people say, go back to a time when you were a child before your trauma occurred. I don't have a place to go back to because it occurred so young. So I kind of had to make it up as I went. But that was hard because, my inner floof was kind of like, I don't know what to do. So I had to give myself permission for my inner child to be a child. And part of it was to reset back to a relaxed state. I didn't have a place to reset back to. But I know somewhere in there was my authentic self. And that's what I had to find. I had to find, who am I? Who is I meant to be in this life? So yeah, I had trauma that started so early that I didn't have a place to reset back to. But it's like an open canvas. I can be anybody I want to be. I can be whoever I want to be. I can remove all these limited thoughts and beliefs of other people, their fears and limitations, and I can set myself free. I can unshackle myself from the emotions that no longer serve me. That's where trust comes in. But I also have to trust the idea that I am worthy and that I do deserve to be happy. And I think we all can reset back to that. The idea that we are worthy and it's okay to trust ourselves. Don't worry about what decisions you may have made in the past. Who are you today? Start from there. Start your journey from there. Start your healing journey from there. Who are you today? Who do you want to be? It doesn't mean you have to change your entire self. When we say who do we want to be, it means, do I want to be a person that just sits and bathes in my sadness and my grief? Or do I want to be a person that works through this pain and finds that rainbow at the end of the healing journey? I admit this is a silly thought, but one of the other reasons that I was so afraid to finish this healing journey was I was afraid that if I got there, I was just going to up and die because I reached the end. I healed my soul. And it has taken a long time. You know, it was 8 years of hard work. The last 3 years have been, well, the last 4 or 5 years have probably been the hardest. The last few months have been where it was gut punching all the time. But then the other day I admitted, it's like, maybe I'm self-sabotaging because I'm afraid that once I heal all this stuff, my soul is just going to go away. My soul's going to be like, okay, I'm free. Let's go. Let's be done with this. But I want to enjoy this life now with this new sense of self, with this new feeling inside of me that's growing and growing and growing every day. You know, and it's a feeling I want to discover because it's the feeling I believe I've always deserved to feel. And that's what I want for all of you. To unshackle yourselves from the emotions, from the pain. You know, like I said, the grief and the pain, they never go away. You learn to live with them. The trauma never goes away. You learn to live with it. You learn how to take your power back. Sometimes it might ground us. But it's our choice how long we stay there. You know, sometimes we have to take the bull by its horns and just say, you know what, I've been here long enough. I need to push through. It's time. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for hanging in there. I know this was a bit long, but this, like I said, this Self-Care Wednesday has been 2 weeks in the making. And I truly, truly believe that it was meant to be for today. Not just for you all, but because of stuff I've been going through as well. It was really kind of validation of my own healing journey and coming to that end and coming to all these revelations in my mind of what has been holding me back. And, you know, in the long run, they seem so small, and yet they were some of my biggest obstacles. But I'm there. And no matter what happens to me today, tomorrow, the next day, I'm going to do my best. I can't say I'm going to go out and do it, but I'm going to do my best to live this life that I know I deserve. And to feel worthy of it. And to trust the process. All right? So, again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. Practice your self-care. Breath work, mindfulness, meditation, dancing, running, walking, exercising, whatever it does, whatever you do to help clear your mind. Be creative, baking, writing, journaling, whatever brings you joy. Tap into it, especially when you are feeling at your lowest. Do your best to lean into what brings you joy. Okay? And if you can't find that, I really, really do recommend journaling. Like I said, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to write a book. All right? You can just put feeling like shit today, feeling wonderful today, whichever one it is. Hope tomorrow's better. It doesn't have to be pages of stuff. But I guarantee you at some point as you're writing this, pages may happen. And it's going to be cathartic because you'll be getting a lot of this stuff out. All right. So I will see everybody back here tomorrow. I believe we are in gratitude lesson number 27 tomorrow. Ooh, that looks like a good one. So lesson number 27 in gratitude tomorrow. Again, take care of yourselves on this wonderful Self-Care Wednesday. I hope everybody has a great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Facebook Live under Shelly Marie Lucas. It is public. Anybody can watch, or you can catch the replay on YouTube under the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas. If you follow me on Twitter, you will more than likely see it there. All right. So again, I hope everybody has a great, great day. Take care of yourselves, and thank you so much for watching.